Do you think there could be anything better than to be able to make something and call it your very own thing? You can impress your family, you can dazzle your friends, even with something as simple as sweet pickle relish. Hello everybody, I'm the Big Easy Chef. In this episode, I'm going to show you how to make sweet pickle relish. This is relish that goes great on hot dogs, hamburgers. It's wonderful in potato salad, macaroni salad, deviled eggs, whatever else you'd use relish for. This is some of the best relish you'll ever taste. I think it'd even be great on ice cream. Now, I'm also going to show you how to make that bright green relish that goes on top of Chicago-style hot dogs. So you don't have to worry about trying to write down the recipe during the video, as it'll be posted at the end, along with a metric conversion chart and complete instructions. So you can kick back, enjoy the video. So let's see what's shaking and get to baking. Before you start handling any food, be sure to wash your hands using plenty of warm water and soap. I cannot tell you enough how important it is to handle food in a sanitary and safe manner. I'm starting with 30 long English seedless cucumbers. I think these cucumbers work the best for pickles and relish, as they have more meat and less seed than the other cucumbers. You can use other cucumbers, however, if they have large seeds, you should de-seed them. Start by washing the cucumbers with plenty of water. Now I have 8 sweet red bell peppers. You'll need to wash them also. Now you can start chopping the cucumbers. You could do this by hand using a sharp knife. Chop, 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 chop. Chop, 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 chop. However, you need to chop these pretty fine. And me being the Big Easy Chef, I'm getting out the food processor and it can spin, spin, spin. You can see how fine the cucumbers need to be cut. If you use a food processor, be sure not to make this into puree. Just use the pulse mode and stop when they're chopped pretty small. Now get the yellow sweet onions ready. Peel the onions and cut them into large chunks and get them ready to take their ride in the processor. It's time to get the red bell peppers ready. Start with removing the seeds and ribs from the peppers and cut them into large chunks. Get them ready to spin, spin, spin in the processor. Place the cucumbers into a container using glass, plastic, or stainless steel container. Don't use any other metal. As you add the cucumbers to the container, sprinkle some canning salt on the cucumbers. You're not seasoning the cucumbers. You are going to use the salt to draw out the moisture from the cucumbers. Make sure to use canning salt, as other salts could discolor your cucumbers, and you don't want discolored pickle relish. I was able to fit 10 cucumbers into one container, so I added 2 of the bell peppers and 1 onion in the container also. Once the container is full, add some ice on top of the mixture. You can place the containers in the fridge or let them set in a cool spot. They need to set for 18 to 24 hours. Now it's been 24 hours. The salt has done its job, so it's time to drain and rinse the mixture. I use a strainer with a fine mesh. I line it with cheesecloth, as I don't want to lose any of this mixture down the drain, as this is precious stuff. Once all the mixture has been rinsed, place it back into the container. To make the sweet pickle relish syrup, in a large pot, add 10 cups of sugar, 6 cups of apple-flavored cider vinegar, 2 teaspoons of ground cinnamon, 2 teaspoons of ground ginger, 2 teaspoons of celery seed, 1 1/2 tablespoons of mustard seed, 1 tablespoon of ground turmeric, 1 teaspoon of ground clove. Heat this mixture on medium heat, just enough to dissolve the sugar, making a nice syrup. Once the sugar is dissolved, turn down the heat to keep the syrup warm. Now pour some of the syrup into another pot. Add green food color to the syrup. Try a few drops at a time until you get the green color you like. This is what's going to give the relish its nice, bright color for the Chicago-style hot dogs. If you're not planning on making any bright green relish, skip this step. Now it's time to get your jars ready. You need to sanitize these jars. You can place the jars in a pot of water and bring them to a boil. Hold the boil for 10 minutes. After 10 minutes, keep the jars warm. However, me being the big easy chef, I'm going to use the dishwasher for this task. I can do all of the jars at the same time. I'm also going to throw in the rings. My dishwasher has a sanitized setting. You can find more safe food handling at usda.gov. Place the lids in a pot of water. Heat them to 180 degrees. Not any hotter than 180, as you could ruin the seal. Once they have reached 180, turn the heat down to keep them warm until you're ready to use them. I have my cucumbers, peppers, onion mixture in 2 separate containers. One is for regular relish and the other is for the green relish. Pour some of the regular syrup into the mixture. Not a lot. You don't want the mixture to be soupy or too wet. You want it to be the same as the relish you buy in the store. Now I'm doing the same with the green mixture for the bright green relish. It's time to start filling the jars. I'm using 12-ounce jars and 8-ounce jars. This funnel works well for filling the jars. Fill the jars, leaving about 1/2 inch headspace. Wipe the jar off. A clean paper towel works fine for this job. Now place a lid on the jar. I'm using a magnet tool. It works fine, and it helps to keep the lid from becoming contaminated with anything. Tighten the lid using a ring. Just hand tighten to a snug fit. You don't want to over tighten the lid, as it could cause it to seal before it should. Now it's time to start processing the relish. In your canning pot, start filling it with jars. You can see this rack I have is a little touchy. You have to stagger the jars to make the loading easy. Once the rack is full, lower the jars down into the water. Make sure the water covers the tops by at least 1 inch. Cover the pot and bring to a boil. Once the water is boiling, maintain the boil for 10 minutes. Now raise the rack and allow the jars to set for 10 minutes before removing the jars. Place the jars on a towel or a rack. Make sure the jars are not touching each other. Allow the jars to cool for 24 hours in a draft-free area. The lids need to seal. When a lid isn't sealed, it is raised, and when it seals, it will make a loud snapping sound. After 24 hours, if you have a jar that hasn't sealed, replace the lid with a new lid. Do not use the old lid. Then process the jar for 10 minutes. Or you could just open the jar and enjoy the relish. It will taste good, but the relish gets better in about 4 weeks. This relish came out just fine. Nice color, great taste, and it'll look good on top of a hot dog. It will taste great in some tuna fish and all the other things that you use relish for. Now, we know where this relish is going, on top of a Chicago-style hot dog. Someone told me that Chicago got its nickname from the hot dog. Oh no, not the Chicago hot dog, but from the chili dog. Okay, now you've watched the video, you can see how easy it is to make sweet pickle relish. I hope you'll try and make some soon. Remember what they say, you are what you eat, so eat healthy. Until next time, I'm the Big Easy Chef.